all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in our newsrooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.
Apple Max. Take it to the max.
Want to just get out of town with your friends and family? Are you having a corporate getaway and have no adequate transport? Then this here is what you need to listen to. A brand new 35-seater Yutong luxury bus is now up for hire at an affordable and negotiable rate. It comes fully equipped with aircon, TV for your relaxation, music soothing your trip, and DVD players to give you variety. Book now by calling 0955 0966 or 977 844 141.
What makes the new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique? 100% natural ingredients. Nothing artificial. Just a pure experience of freshness. Potato chips. We know you'll love them.
Hey girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Jungle.
A lovely warm welcome to the main news on Prime Television. To present it, my name is Kalan Muchima. A quick look at the headlines. Health Minister denies a shortage of medical supplies in hospitals. Zambia's DPP Mtembo Nchito faces arrest. MMD PF Major talks Rio, confirms MMD National Secretary. In foreign news, Mediterranean sinking kills 200 migrants bound for Europe. Join me shortly for the main news in detail. Once again, another main news in detail. A Lusaka court has issued a warrant of arrest for Zambia's Director of Public Prosecution Mtembo Nchito Mtembo Nchito, 45, faces 11 counts of a criminal misconduct, abuse of authority, and fraud and altering forged documents. In the first count, Mtembo Nchito, on the 13th March 2012, in Lusaka, employed in the public service as Director of Public Prosecutions, did abuse the authority of the office by entering a nolle prosequi in a matter involving Shubert Sinkala, in which he had not seen evidence from the complainant Lewis Chisanga Mosho. He is also accused of having procured the execution of a document, namely an order of court under cause number 1998 HP 2097 before Supreme Court Judge Gregory Piri as High Court Judge then, whereby the judge was caused to erroneously sign the said court order. He is accused of altering a court order procured by means of force and fraudulent representation to Supreme Court Judge Gregory Piri, sitting as High Court Judge then. Mr. Nchito, on dates unknown but between 1st January 2008 and 31st December 2009, in the Lusaka district, working as Chief Executive Officer of Zambian Airways, was part to the contracting of a debt by Zambian Airways, knowing or having reason to believe that at the time the debt was being contracted, had no reasonable or probable ground of expectation of the company's ability to pay the said debt to the Development Bank of Zambia and other creditors. Lusaka residents have expressed mixed feelings over government's decision to freeze domestic electricity tariffs and for the next 2 years. The freezing of domestic electricity tariffs entails that in the next 2 years there will be no increase or reduction to be affected by the power utility company, but will instead increase commercial tariffs. Our staffer Gwen Miller caught up with some residents and now brings us this report.
ZESCO Zambia Limited's proposal to the government to allow it freeze electricity tariffs for domestic consumers for 2 years was this week approved by government. And this move has come as a surprise to most citizens and corporate entities that rely on the commodity for their daily operations. The company has also proposed an adjustment of commercial consumer tariffs to make them cost effective. And businesses are normal as always for these residents of Mandevu constituency in Lusaka, and like many others, these residents too rely on electricity for their day-to-day activities. And people talked to have expressed mixed feelings over the freezing of electricity tariffs.
Muno muri benchito tita depend muri vamene hivi. So ma tariffs ya malaiti ya very high. They don't care for the poor. So,
16 weekend win. I'm a light to survive. For street vendors, if to panga, if to want light. So, transport you say to the shoe pickwa. I'm a light here and must be reduced.
The residents of Lusaka district have expressed mixed feelings over government's decision to freeze the electricity tariffs for the coming 2 years. The residents have since called on government to reconsider their decision and to see to it that the tariffs are either reduced or hiked a little. When we are reporting for Prime TV News in Lusaka.
The opposition movement for multi-party democracy, MMD, has warned its expelled National Secretary Muhavi Lungu against holding illegal meetings in the name of the party. Speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka Wednesday, Party National Secretary Mwansa Mbulakulima said the party will be left with no option but to use physical violence against Mr. Lungu and his team. Mr. Mbulakulima said it is disappointing that Mr. Lungu has continued to undermine the courts of law, which have recognized the Nevas Mumba-led team as the legal leadership of the party. He has announced that the party has mobilized cadres from the Copperbelt and Lusaka to manhandle anyone who will be in the attendance for the meeting called by Mr. Lungu on Saturday. On the 10th of February 2015, the High Court threw out an application by Mr. Lungu asking the courts of law to restrain the MMD from expelling him and others from the party.
This is the Supreme Court ruling. And any civilized person must abide by this. Supreme Court, High Court. What does he want to run to? Anarchy? Jungle law? Who does he think he is? This is a civilized group who believe in justice, the rule. So it's not about an individual. It's about the party. And it's about doing the right thing. And for us, let me on that we are ready for them. Should they decide to go a step further in holding that illegal meeting, we shall physically handle it. And we have actually invited our party cadres to come from board. We're ready for them. And if that's what they want, don't blame us.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mbulakulima says the party is still in talks with the PF for a possible merger. Mr. Mbulakulima, who could, however, not give more details on the matter, said the two parties are still working out modalities of how they can work together. Asked on why the MMD has decided to work with the PF when they have always criticized the party, Mr. Mbulakulima responded that such details will soon be communicated to after concluding negotiations. Mr. Mbulakulima has meanwhile confirmed that party president Dr. Nevas Mumba has already met PF President Edgar Lungu regarding the development.
Today I might be mean in telling you certain information, but suffice to say that we have not gone any further. I've read the story. Some of the issues that I've come across are saying we are yet to admit it. What I'm saying here says we are yet to discuss and agree on how it can be a marriage because we do not want an alliance. We want to engage in a more detailed discussion, Mr. Chama said. So this is true. That it will be premature for me to give you information to that effect. Yes, His Excellency the President, Mr. Edgar Lungu, and our party president met and discussed many issues actually which were given to you by our party spokesperson. But the two parties have not met to iron out and agree on any position.
The World Bank and the Ministry of Finance have signed a funding agreement of $65 million to improve the health delivery system in Zambia. Finance Minister Alexander Chikwanda, who signed on behalf of the Zambian government, says the Zambia Health Service Improvement Project will assist the government in its quest to improving the health sector. He says with the loan that has been given, government anticipates an increase in the availability of health and nutrition commodities. The health project will be implemented in 5 poor and underserved provinces, including Western, Northwestern, Northern, Muchinga and Luapula.
Hope is a facility to help with this improvement in the availability of skilled care. We need skilled care in the delivery, adequate and effective delivery of health services in our country. It will also impact on the availability of health and nutrition commodities, and not least, it will strengthen the referral linkages. So this is the impact of the loan, and as I've said, this is a facility which we have secured at a time when our economy faces, like all economies in the world, immense challenges.
And World Bank Country Director Kudyavi Kaderesan said the project will have 3 key-driven components, and the focus will be on training capacity for nursing and midwifery to strengthen maternal, newborn and child health. She says despite the robust growth that Zambia has experienced in the last decades, poverty in most rural areas is still high.
But now that the elections are over, we are delighted and eager now to start focusing on the economy, which is perhaps one of the most important areas that we need to ensure that it works in terms of the majority of the people in the country. Honorable Ministers, it's great to have you, Minister of Health, also to join us now. In line with the national development process, We have an ongoing program of close to $650 million in a range of sectors, health, agriculture, energy, road, and a number of areas. Again, financing is not the only key element of our support. A lot in terms of technical assistance and policy dialogue is a critical aspect of World Bank.
President Edgar Lungu has clarified that the splitting of some government ministries is intended to enhance efficiency in the delivery of service. Speaking in an interview with Zanis shortly before departure to Lusaka from Mufue International Airport Wednesday, President Lungu said the move was not intended to create employment for those who supported him prior to the January 20th presidential election, but to improve the delivery of services among government ministries. He stated that he saw nothing wrong with the creation of jobs if it was intended to enhance operations of the ministries. The head of a state observed that the mix of energy and mining had not gone well, but noted that it was debatable, adding that if he could be convinced otherwise, he would rescind the decision as it was only his thought. President Lungu said that he would consult over his idea to split the ministries and forward his proposal to cabinet for deliberations. President Lungu said the idea was to improve efficiency in the delivery of service to the people of Zambia. And Mr. Lungu says he will not hesitate to consult former heads of a state on matters of good governance of the country. Health Minister Dr. Joseph Kasonde has announced that there has been a general increase in the availability of medical supplies in health centers around the country, contrary to reports that most health centers have no medicines. Dr. Kasonde says there has been an increase from 40% to about 80% availability, and the ministry expects the supply to be increased by 30% or more once resources are made available to his ministry. The health minister explains that investigations instituted by the ministry have proved that the shortage of medicines in health centers was due to an artificial problem created by management, as most of the drugs subscribed for patients to buy in private pharmacies were actually available in the hospitals. Dr. Kasonde said this at a media briefing in Lusaka.
We have figures that have shown the improvement that has been made from something like 40% availability to 80% availability and above over the last 1 year. What we have experienced in the last week or two has been what I have called an artificial shortage created by management problems. In particular, our investigation has shown that at the same time as people were complaining about shortages of drugs in health centers in Lusaka, which I personally visited, these very drugs were available in medical stores limited.
This is Prime Television's main news. We go for our first set of commercials. Do join us shortly for the main news after this.
Would you wear all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in unused rooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.
What's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
potato sticks, freaky fries. Get that awesome crunch.
Thank you so much for staying with us. And now for the rest of the news. Zambian Voice Executive Director Chilufya Tayali has confirmed having a soft spot for the ruling Patriotic Front PF and not any other opposition political party. Appearing on Prime TV's Oxygen of Democracy program, Mr. Tayali explained that he supports the PF because of their tolerance towards national matters. He said the PF has always responded to his concerns, and like other parties which have continued to turn a blind eye to his concerns. Mr. Tayali particularly attacked the UPND, accusing the party of being violent, tribal, and non-accommodating. Mr. Tayali, a number of people have noticed or have accused you of having a soft spot for PF. Confirm this.
You know what? I'll tell you that. If you look at the political parties that are there, I will confirm to you that we have indeed a soft spot for PF. And we have got reasons for that. We, from our point of view, PF has shown that tolerance. So, SATA is gone. Edgar Lungu has come in. Even with Edgar Lungu, when he came in, he has shown that openness, that he wants to listen. He wants to listen. So this is one of the objectives that we want as a civil society. We want the government to listen. And if a government is listening, shouldn't we have a soft spot for them?
Meanwhile, several callers on the program condemned Mr. Tayali's partisan stance. They accused Mr. Tayali of hiding behind an organization when in the end the actual sense he is actively running a PF NGO.
Tell that man that he's not there to discuss HH. That man is down. That's what he's talking about. He's a down man. Please tell him that he's not there to discuss HH. What's the topic there? You people there are running away from the topic. He's talking about HH. Why? These are cadres that come on radio to talk, on TV station to talk about politics. Tell him that if he's there to present an angel, let him present an angel, not him being a cadre, please.
That man, the way he's sitting he must have just stayed there. He's very dangerous to the Zambian youth. He's not even supposed to be there. Yeah, so we are very worried.
That's the UPND.
Please try to tell him at least to represent the youth, not killing the Zambian youth. We are very disappointed the way they are narrating the issues.
All right.
He has been just paid, obvious.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we also want to benefit, not like the way I've benefited himself being paid, and they are just messing up issues.
I just want to ask that Dagdam who is there on the television, throw him away. He shouldn't be talking about it. Let him just consider the topic which is there.
Emirates Group, comprising Emirates Airline and Nanta, plans to hire over 11,000 new staff in the coming year across its business, in line with its projected growth across 6 continents. This would increase its staff size by 6% by March 2016. Approximately half of the new recruits will comprise a Dubai-based cabin crew for Emirates Airline, as the airline gears up to receive over 20 new aircraft this year. In a media statement to Prime TV News, Emirates Airline and Group Executive Vice President Abdulaziz Al Ali said both Emirates and Nanta are exciting and leading companies with skilled personnel. Mr. Ali assured the company's clientele of a truly international and multicultural working environment, as well as good career prospects with a stable and growing company like the two. According to the statement, in 2014, Emirates received nearly 483,944 online applications for over 2,000 jobs from over 227 countries. A political activist, Dante Saunders, has urged President Edgar Lungu to work towards fulfilling his campaign promises. Mr. Saunders says Mr. Lungu should ensure that his government prioritizes poverty alleviation, which has become too prominent among Zambians. He charged that Zambians are anxiously waiting to see that the PF, through President Lungu, delivers on such promises. Mr. Saunders explained that President Lungu has only been given 1 year to fulfill his campaign promises or risk being voted out of office in 2016. Mr. Saunders said this in an interview with the Prime TV News in Lusaka.
This issue of depending also on foreigners to bring in chips and potatoes and onions from other countries to come and sell it here, I think that should also go, because we should be looking at how do you promote your local industry in our country. How do you begin to manufacture things in our country? So in that regard, I'm very, very happy. The one thing that he has done, which this country has not done for many years, is to bring in somebody who understands business and understands how the banking world works. That is bringing in Margaret Monakatwe, I think, was a big thing. And we hope that some of the ministers is going to be bringing in the caliber of Margaret Monakatwe.
Meanwhile, Mr. Saunders has condemned President Edgar Lungu's decision to go for a bloated government. He noted that the separation of ministries by Mr. Lungu clearly shows that he is trying to create jobs for the people who supported him during the presidential by-election. And Mr. Saunders has questioned the eligibility of the just-ended elections. He says with so many legalities witnessed, it is hard to tell whether the election was free and fair.
And the way to reduce the cost of living in our country is to get rid of all of this middleman that is buying fuel, number one. I think there's about 6 of them that we are looking at. So why should Zambia buy fuel through middlemen? Why not buy the fuel directly? And as we all know, the price of fuel since PF has come into power has been reduced by almost some 50% world market prices. We know that. That's number one. Number two, he's also promised that he was going to sort out the electricity tariffs, the high tariffs that people have to pay in order to cook food in their homes and stuff like that there. If we do not have cheap electricity, it simply means that our forestry is going to go up again in flames.
The Kalabo Boma local court has granted divorce to a Kalabo housewife after her husband attempted to rape their maid. Magistrate Muyunda Nyambe granted Messi Muvita divorce after it was also found that her husband, a Mr. Matongo, actually assaulted her using weapons each time they had a domestic dispute. Muvita, an assistant officer at the National Assembly Liua Constituency Office, told Magistrate Nyambe that her husband was a promiscuous man who was fond of flirting with other women. The couple had been married for 3 years. The complainant further told the court that Matongo denied her of her conjugal rights by allowing his over 12-year-old son to share their matrimonial bed. She disclosed that Matongo was always putting his son to sleep in between them since July 2014. She filed for divorce after her husband is also a soldier attempted to rape their unnamed maid for fear of her life. However, Matongo was not in court to defend himself, as he had instead signed consent to judgment in his absence. In passing judgment, Magistrate Nyambe said he had no objection to grant Muvita divorce since the defendant did sign a consent of judgment in his absence. Magistrate Nyambe ordered Matongo to share the property equally and to also pay Muvita a sum of 4,000 in 4 monthly installments. We go for another set of commercials, and when we do come back, we look at what's making headlines in foreign news. Stay with us.
Apple Max. Take it to the max.
What makes the new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique? 100% natural ingredients. Nothing artificial. Just a pure experience of freshness. Chipsy potato chips. We know you'll love them.
It's now time for international news. More than 200 migrants are dead after the motorboats they were traveling on sank in the Mediterranean Sea, the UN's refugee agency says. 9 were saved after 4 days at sea. The other 203 were swallowed by the waves. UNHCR's spokeswoman in Italy, Carlotta Sami, said on Twitter she called the situation a horrible and enormous tragedy. On Monday, at least 29 migrants died after the inflatable boat carrying them overturned in high seas. 7 were already dead when they were picked up near the Italian island of Lampedusa, and a further 22 succumbed to hypothermia after spending more than 18 hours on the open deck of the vessel which picked them up. The International Organization for Migration says the 2 boats involved in the latest tragedy had departed from the Libyan coast on Saturday. The UN has withdrawn its backing for a planned offensive against the rebels in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo after the government refused to sack 2 generals, a spokesman has said. UN troops could not join the offensive because the generals were accused of human rights abuses, he added. The planned offensive was aimed at disarming the FDLR rebels, who are seen as a threat to regional stability. DR Congo's government has not yet commented on the UN's decision. It has previously said that it chose its best soldiers to fight the FDLR and it will not take instructions from the UN. For more international stories, we now join Al Jazeera.
Fighting continues in eastern Ukraine. Just hours before peace talks in the Belarusian capital Minsk are due to start, a central bus station in the rebel stronghold of Donetsk has been hit by heavy shelling. Ukraine's government says that 19 of its soldiers have been killed in the past 24 hours. The UN envoy to Yemen has warned that the country is on the brink of civil war as Shia Houthi rebels consolidate their hold on large parts of the country. The US, the UK and France have closed their embassies in Yemen's capital, and at least 9 people have been killed and 15 injured in fighting in Rada, in central province of Al-Baida. Houthis have been battling fighters there while trying to take control of the city. This month marks the 4th anniversary of the start of mass protests in Yemen that led to the fall of longtime leader Ali Abdullah Saleh. The southern city of Taiz was at the center of those protests, and now people are back on the streets to demonstrate against the Houthis after they seized power in that coup in the capital, Sana'a. The US has confirmed the death of aid worker Kayla Muller, who's being held hostage by ISIL fighters. The White House is challenging ISIL's claim that she was killed in a coalition airstrike. The new government in Greece has won a confidence vote in Parliament ahead of bailout talks on Wednesday, but Europe's biggest economic power, Germany, has warned against the Greek proposal to revise its debt terms. A verdict is expected later in the Costa Concordia trial. Captain Francesco Schettino denies multiple manslaughter. The prosecution is demanding a 26-long jail sentence for him. 32 passengers and crew died when the cruise ship was steered too close to the Italian island of Giglio and hit rocks 3 years ago. Apple has cemented its position as the world's most valuable company after a surge in its share price pushed up its market value beyond the $700 billion milestone. Last month, the technology giant reported the largest quarterly profit in its corporate history in the 3 months to December. The iPhone is now the single best-selling gadget of all time, and 34,000 of them were sold every hour during the last quarter.
That's an international roundup from Al Jazeera, and it brings us to the end of the main news. But before we leave you, a look at the headlines once again. Health Minister denies a shortage of medical supplies in hospitals. Zambia's DPP Mtembo Nchito faces arrest. MMD PF Major talks Rio confirms MMD National Secretary. In international news, Mediterranean sinking kills 200 migrants bound for Europe. For a full version of these news and others, you can still download it on our website on www.ptvzambia.com. On behalf of the entire studio and technical crew, my name is Kala Mchima. Thank you so much for your company. God bless you, and bye-bye.
Hey girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Potato sticks, freaky fries. Get that awesome crunch.
Would you wear all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in unused rooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. ZESCO, powering the nation.